The beginning of each day offers a fresh opportunity, a blank canvas where you can choose how to paint your life. Jim Rohn understood this better than most. He knew that life doesn't just happen to you, it responds to what you bring to it. And one of the most powerful things you can bring to each day is yourself, a more aware, more intentional, and more grounded version of you. That's where personal reflection comes in. Jim often said, learn to be quiet sometimes and just reflect. In a world that's constantly demanding your attention, pushing you to rush, consume, and react, the ability to pause and reflect is not just rare, it's revolutionary. Reflection is how you take control of the steering wheel instead of being pushed around by the cows of the day. How important. When you begin your day with personal reflection, you give yourself the space to become aware of what matters. You slow down just enough to ask better questions. Not just, what do I have to do today? But, what do I want to be today? Not just, what happened yesterday? But, what can I learn from what happened? That kind of thinking is what transforms ordinary days into meaningful ones. Jim didn't wake up and scroll. He started with himself. His thoughts, his direction, his life, he carved out time in the morning to look inward. That simple act of checking in, of looking at your thoughts, your emotions, your wins, and even your failures, is what makes you better over time. Reflection turns life into a lesson plan, and lessons, when learned, turn into wisdom. You see, success isn't about never making mistakes. It's about not repeating the same ones. But if you never take the time to look at where you've been, how will you know how to move forward? Jim understood that yesterday's experience is only valuable if you mine it for insight. And insight only comes when you sit with it, reflect on it, write it down. Every morning, take a few moments to ask yourself key questions. What did I do well yesterday? What could I have done better? Did I move closer to my goals or drift further away? How did I treat the people around me? What am I grateful for right now? These questions don't just organize your thoughts. They sharpen your character. And your character, as Jim would say, is what determines your destiny. The world doesn't give you what you want. It gives you who you are. And personal reflection is how you shape who you are. One of the most powerful habits Jim taught was journaling. Not just writing down events, but writing down meanings. What something it affected to you. What it taught you. He used to say, don't let your learning lead to knowledge. Let your learning lead to action. That action often begins with reflection. When you reflect, you begin to see patterns. Some good, some not so good. Important. And the moment you recognize a pattern is the moment you have the power to change it. Maybe you notice that you start the day already stressed, or that certain thoughts keep showing up, or that you keep making the same decision and expecting a different result. That's the gift of reflection. It holds up a mirror, and sometimes that mirror shows you what needs to change. But it's not just about correcting mistakes. It's also about recognizing progress. Sometimes we're so focused on the mountain ahead that we forget to look back at how far we've come. Morning reflection reminds you, you are growing, you are learning, you are becoming. Even if it's slow, even if it's messy, you're not the same person you were a year ago. That encouragement is important. It keeps you going. Jim Rohn believed that if you would just take a little time each day, 15 minutes, even 10, your entire life could begin to change. Because reflection isn't just about thinking. It's about connecting with your purpose, your values, and your personal standards. And here's the truth: people who reflect are rarely surprised by life. They are more grounded. They respond instead of react. They plan better. They live with intention. That doesn't mean life won't throw curveballs, but it means they're more ready to catch them. You don't need fancy tools to start this. Just a quiet space, a pen, and a mind willing to learn. and you don't need hours, just a few consistent minutes. What matters most is consistency. Reflection done daily compounds over time. The clarity it brings, the strength it builds, the wisdom it generates. That's where true growth comes from. So if you're serious about growth, if you want to improve, not just exist, then begin your day the way Jim Rohn did. Pause, think, reflect. Ask yourself the hard questions. Celebrate the small wins. Adjust your course if needed. And above all, commit to becoming just a little better today than you were yesterday. That's the real secret to success. And it starts with you. Every day the world is going to speak to you. It's going to pull at your attention, offer distractions, push its opinions, and try to shape your thinking. The news will scream. Social media will whisper. Emails will pile up. People will make demands. And before you know it, your mind is no longer yours. It's been hijacked. Hijacked by the noise, the urgency, the negativity, and the chows of the world. That's why Jim Rohn believed it was absolutely essential to feed your mind before the world does. It's not just a suggestion. It's a discipline. It's a strategy. It's how you take control of your life by first taking control of your mind. You see, your mind is a garden. It doesn't stay empty. Something is always growing in it. And if you don't plant something positive, intentional, and nourishing, then the weeds of worry, doubt, and distraction will take over. The quality of your thoughts will always determine the quality of your actions. And the quality of your actions will shape the quality of your life. Jim didn't just wake up and stumble into the day. He prepared. He chose what entered his mind first. He understood that what you feed yourself in the morning becomes the fuel you run on all day. Just like your body needs healthy food, your mind needs strong ideas, ideas that challenge you, ideas that strengthen your thinking, ideas that remind you of who you are and what you're capable of becoming. Every morning he made a habit of reading. Philosophy, personal development, biographies, business books, scripture. He didn't just read for entertainment. He read for transformation. He wasn't trying to escape life. He was trying to understand it, to master it, to grow within it. He often said, formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. And that self-education begins not in a classroom, but in your quiet moments. Before the noise of the world begins, that's when you decide who gets to speak into your life. That's when you choose what kind of thinking will guide your decisions. And it's not just about books. It could be audio lessons, inspirational talks, a podcast from someone you admire, or a page from your journal. The point is not the medium. The point is the message. What are you feeding your mind? Is it fear or faith, doubt or discipline, gossip or greatness, Jim, junk or wisdom? Jim used to challenge his audiences, miss a meal, but don't miss your reading. He meant it. Because skipping breakfast might make you hungry, but skipping wisdom will leave you confused. Skipping inspiration will leave you weak, and skipping principles will leave you lost. One of the greatest benefits of feeding your mind first is this: you begin to live by design, not by default. Stop reacting to life and start creating your life. You walk into the day with perspective. You face challenges with strength. You communicate with clarity. You lead with purpose. Why? Because your mind was already prepared before the chaos arrived. When you read a paragraph that stirs your soul, or hear a story that lifts your spirit, or reflect on a principle that grounds your values, that becomes your armor. That becomes your foundation. That becomes your compass. Jim Rohn knew that we are influenced by what we consume. Just like you can't eat junk food every day and expect to feel great, you can't fill your mind with negativity and expect to make powerful decisions. It doesn't work that way. Your input shapes your output. He also taught that small investments in the mind, done consistently, yield incredible results. 10 minutes a day, one chapter, one audio clip, one idea. Over time, that compounds. Just like money invested wisely, mental nutrition grows in value. A good idea today might lead to a breakthrough tomorrow. A quote today might inspire a conversation next week. A story today might give you courage next month. Never underestimate the ripple effects of what you put in your mind. So feed your mind early. Feed it something strong, something good, something true. Before your phone gets your attention, before the world makes its demands, before distractions get a foothold, plant something wise, something honest, something useful. Because you don't rise to the level of your goals, you rise to the level of your mindset. And mindset is built like a muscling slowly, intentionally, and through daily repetition. Every time you feed your mind first, you take another step toward becoming the kind of person who doesn't just chase success. You attract it. In the end, success is not something you do once. It's something you become through who you are. And who you are is a reflection of what you feed your mind, especially when the day begins. Start early. Start intentionally. Feed your mind before the world does. Journaling is one of the most powerful habits you can develop to gain clarity, build self-confidence, and take control of your growth. Jim Rohn often said, "Don't use your head for a filing cabinet." And he was right. The mind is a place for processing, not for storage. That's why he made journaling a daily ritual, a quiet moment where the noise of the world gave way to the voice within. You see, life moves fast. The world pulls you in a dozen directions every single day. But when you sit down with a pen and paper in the morning, you give yourself a chance to pause. And in that pause, you create space for clarity. You create space to ask the questions that matter. What am I doing? Why am I doing it? Is this the direction I truly want to go? Jim didn't just write about what happened. He wrote about what he learned from what happened. He wrote about people, decisions, problems, goals, lessons, wins, and even regrets. Why? Because journaling is where experiences turn into education. Without reflection, a day is just a day. But with reflection, a day becomes a chapter in your book of growth. Every page you write helps you become more aware, more intentional, more grounded. And this kind of awareness builds something crucial: confidence. Not the loud, arrogant kind, but the quiet, steady kind, the confidence that comes from knowing who you are, where you're going, and why it matters. You become the kind of person who walks into each day with direction, not confusion. Journaling reminds you of your values, your priorities, and your progress. And that reminder becomes your foundation. When Jim Rohn sat with his journal, he wasn't just recording his thoughts. He was designing his life. He was training his mind to think clearly. And over time, this daily practice shaped his decisions, refined his vision, and fueled his ability to communicate with purpose and power. He didn't guess his way to success. He documented his way there. Most people drift through life. They forget the lessons. They repeat the same mistakes. They react instead of respond. Why? Because they never took the time to write it down. They never captured the insights. They never studied their own life. But when you write, you notice patterns. You catch emotional triggers. You see the gap between where you are and where you want to be. And once you see that gap, you can start building the bridge. Some days, your journal will be filled with ideas. Other days, it'll be a place to process pain. Some mornings, you'll write down dreams, and others, you'll write through doubt. But every time you write, you're moving forward. You're making the invisible visible. You're putting your thoughts into form, and that form gives you power. It gives you something solid to hold on to when the world feels uncertain. Journaling also sharpens your focus. When you write your goals daily, they stay fresh in your mind. You no longer lose track of what matters most. Your attention stops wandering. Instead of being pulled by every distraction, you're pulled by your own vision. And this kind of focus over time leads to excellence. Because what gets written gets remembered. And what gets remembered gets acted on. One of the greatest benefits of journaling is self-honesty. The page doesn't lie to you. It doesn't flatter you. It doesn't judge. It simply reflects what you put on it. And that reflection can be eye-opening. It's where you confront your fears. It's where you admit what's not working. It's where you reconnect with your inner truth. This kind of honesty is rare in today's world, but it's essential for real growth. Jim Rohn believed that everyone should keep a journal, not just writers, not just thinkers, but anyone who wants to live with purpose. Because the journal isn't about perfection. It's about progress. You don't need to write a masterpiece. You just need to write what matters to you. Even a few lines a day can change the way you think, feel, and act. Think of journaling as your private workshop. It's where you sculpt your thoughts, your beliefs, your habits, and your identity. It's where you build the foundation of who you are becoming. And the more you build it, the more confident you become in your ability to handle life. Because you're no longer guessing your way forward. You're guiding yourself forward. In a world full of noise, journaling gives you clarity. In a world full of pressure, it gives you peace. And in a world full of comparison, it gives you self-respect. That's why the most successful people don't just live fast. They live deep. And journaling is one of the tools that helps them do it. If you want to grow, write. If you want to understand yourself, write. If you want to stop repeating the same mistakes and start building momentum, right? Not someday. Start today. Keep it simple. Keep it honest. Keep it consistent. And over time, you'll find that the person writing in that journal isn't just telling a story. They're becoming one worth telling. ChatGPT said, reviewing your goals every morning is one of the most powerful disciplines you can build into your life. Jim Rohn often said, discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment, and that bridge must be crossed daily. The simple act of reviewing your goals each morning isn't just about reminding yourself of what you want. It's about aligning your actions with your vision, setting the tone for your decisions, and reinforcing your identity as someone who is purpose-driven. When you start your day by reviewing your goals, you immediately bring clarity to your mind. Most people begin their mornings in a reactive state. They reach for their phones, get pulled into emails, messages, social media, and the demands of the world before they've even taken a breath for themselves. They've already surrendered their focus. But those who review their goals daily step into the day with intention. They don't wait to react to life. They decide how life will unfold one step at a time. There's something profound that happens when you remind yourself of what you're working toward. It reinforces your sense of purpose. It reminds you why you must push through the mundane, why you must delay gratification, and why you must say no to distractions. Without that reminder, it becomes too easy to drift. Days blur into weeks, and months pass without progress. But those who keep their goals in front of them are guided by a compass, not the chaos. Jim Rohn didn't just believe in writing down goals once and forgetting them. He believed in building a relationship with your goals. Think of your goals like a fire. If you don't feed the fire, it dies. Reviewing your goals each morning is like adding wood to the fire. It keeps the passion burning, the vision alive. It's not enough to know what you want. You must stay emotionally connected to it. You must feel it. You must see it. You must believe in it every single day. Discipline doesn't come naturally. It's not inherited or gifted. It's cultivated. Reviewing your goals in the morning helps cultivate discipline by giving you a reason to be disciplined. It's hard to say no to temptations if you don't have a powerful yes to something greater. But when you start the day focused on your vision, on the body you want to build, the business you want to grow, the legacy you want to leave, then the decisions you make throughout the day become easier. You start choosing what's meaningful over what's comfortable. You start acting in alignment with your future, not just your feelings. Direction, too, is a natural outcome of daily goal review. The world is full of distractions. Every day, we're bombarded with options, requests, obligations, and noise. It's easy to spend an entire day busy but not productive. You can answer emails, take calls, run errands, and go to sleep exhausted, but still be no closer to the life you want. Why? Because without clear direction, action alone is not enough. Reviewing your goals gives you that direction. It filters your priorities. It asks you, what matters most today? What one thing can I do that moves me forward? That kind of clarity eliminates overwhelm. It breaks big dreams into small, focused steps. When your mind is focused, your energy is sharp. And when your energy is sharp, your work becomes powerful. This habit doesn't require hours. It can be done in 5 to 10 minutes. You can keep a physical notebook or a digital list. Read through your goals. Reflect on them. Visualize them as already achieved. Then ask yourself what small, specific action you can take today to make progress. Even one step matters, because one step taken with clarity is worth more than 10 taken blindly. And here's another secret: when you review your goals daily, you build confidence. You begin to see that your dreams are not just ideas, they're reachable destinations. You start to believe in your ability to follow through. Each day that you show up with intention, each day that you take aligned action, you build the habit of showing up for yourself. That's where confidence comes from. Not from talent, not from luck, but from consistency. Jim Rohn was a master of consistency. He taught that success is not something you pursue. It's something you attract by the person you become. And the person you become is shaped by the routines you follow. Morning goal review is one of those routines. It's quiet, it's simple, but it's powerful. It's where your mind gets focused, your heart gets aligned, and your feet get ready to walk in the right direction. So if you want discipline in your life, if you want clarity, purpose, motivation, and results, don't underestimate this habit. Make it part of your morning. Make it non-negotiable. Treat your goals like they matter, because they do. And when you treat them that way, you begin to act like they matter. And that's when life begins to change. Review your goals each morning, not someday, not occasionally, but every day. Do it until it becomes part of who you are. Because when your mornings are focused, your days are productive. And when your days are productive, your life begins to transform. One clear step at a time.